Okay, now moving on to the iPhones. Excuse me, the iPods, because this was all about the iPods, which neither one of us really care about. It's like you're a Zune person. You're a Zune person. I'm on Linux, so iPods aren't an option to me.
But that's true. Well, I mean, I'm a Zune HD fan. There's not much Zune HDs out there, and like I said before, I'm not big in MP3s. To me, I use MP3s as an argument against today's society, as in burying their head in the sand, just walking around malls, listening to music rather than, being out there and experiencing the world and interacting with other people. So countless amount of times I walk in a mall and say, hey, and they could care less about the person. So I always use MP3 players or, the name iPod, the iPod generation, just as people will use the word Kleenex for all facial tissue. I guess it doesn't necessarily mean it's an attack on Apple, but so I'm not big on MP3s, but
I'm a fan of music, and I do like digital, that it went all digital, because it made it easier just to carry your whole collection with you, as opposed to Hassan. But that's.
I'm a big fan of music too. I've got a huge library, but to me there's a place and time for it, and not to be rude and walk around the world with headphones in my ears the entire day. It's or just
I could give a crap if somebody's
device nowhere else.
I could give a crap if somebody's walking around with headphones, even if they have headphones while they're talking to me. Because I'm one of those people who can multitask very well, and I kind of accept that others can too. So I don't consider it disrespectful.
No. We're not talking about creativity. There's tons of people that you can interact with, and they're totally lost.
Oh, no. If you're one of these people that can't multitask like that, you shouldn't be doing it. What I find annoying as hell, though, and I feel like an old man saying this, but I find it annoying as hell, is these people that have their music turned up so loud that you can hear it 10 feet away from them. And I'm like, doesn't that make your ears hurt? It's like, just a little. It's like
but putting that aside, I mean, I have my Zune HD. It's for my car, and I can play music here in my entertainment center. And I do love music and appreciate it. I've never even owned a Walkman, really. I mean, it's myself as a consumer, it's not a thing that I really am interested in. But I will say that I love what they presented. I think the iPod Touch is really cool. It's everything short of having the 3G band.
But basically what they did for the
phone calls over voice over IP, so it's
what they did for the iPod Touch was what pretty much everyone expected, which they brought all the updates they brought to the iPhone earlier this year to the iPod Touch, which is pretty much what everyone expected to happen. The updates that are funny with the iPods is the shuffle. I was laughing my ass off when they said with the shuffle, so I'm like, they pointed out in version 1 we had this, in version 2 we had this, but then we thought you didn't need that feature, so we removed it in version 3.
He admitted to it though, didn't he? He said he obviously wanted the buttons, so he brought them, hey, that was cool, he admitted to it.
It's cool, he admitted to it, but it's one of those. So let me get this straight. The big improvement in version 4 is you brought back a feature that you realize now was a mistake to take away. It's one of those.
Yeah. Hey, but it's gonna sell well. This is not my department.
Well, no, it's not your department, but that's.
I want someone to tell me how well those things clip on. If you're really running. I mean, geez, is that thing going to stay on there wherever you clip it? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how many people really run anymore? Let's be honest. People say I'm going for a jog. What they really mean is I'm going for a light walk to the hot dog stand. But the iPod Nano, I like it. Yeah, I know people are complaining because and you were telling me, there's a certain you didn't mention any names, a YouTube user that was bragging about using the video camera
I always thought that was cornball. You know what? Why do you need a cam on this? But then again, you know, I'm not the typical consumer, and I admit that. But oh well, you know, there's gonna be people.
The only thing I find funny about the new design of the Nano is it looks exactly like a product. I forget who it is. I want to say Sony, but it might have been somebody else. Somebody put a product that looked exactly like that out, and it never really caught on because it was just, it's too small, it's yada yada. I'm sure Apple's will catch on just because it's Apple. But it's one, and I like you say, it's a cornball feature. Other than fanboys who are just trying to shove it down people's throats, I don't really think anybody was using the camera, so I don't think that's bad. And I also think putting the buttons back on the Nano is the smartest thing they could do, because I can't count every single time, and I do mean every time I go to the Best Buy up here, every single time, there is somebody in the return line returning a Nano because they just cannot get used to the fact that it doesn't have those buttons. I mean, not a Nano, a Shuffle. Every single time, which means my guess is Apple got sick of all the return Shuffles. It's like it's the only product from Apple I consistently see people in the return line returning, and that they say it. I just can't get used to the no buttons, so they go get I mean, they're exchanging it for a Nano, but it's like it's almost none of those that get sold stay sold. They come back because of that change, and I think it's like, okay, the stores aren't ordering any more of these because they're just going out and coming back and going out and coming back.
Yeah, but hey, it's also like I was saying, I don't know. People have different reasons for video. I think of video and cameras for productivity, scanning documents, barcode, stuff like that. Sure, if you know, I have my kids and stuff, but I have dedicated cameras for those. I prefer.
That's the thing. And honestly, honestly, if we're honest, almost everyone has a cell phone today, and I'm not sure the camera on the Nano is any better than the cell phone. And it's just one of those. Oh, hold on, let me drop my cell phone and get my Nano. It's like,
I actually, if I'm going to be videoing my kids, or I know I'm taking photos, I do bring a camera. I have a camera on my Palm. I had a camera on my other phone. My wife has a camera. Maybe if it's something that you were not prepared for, you can capture that moment, and that's a very legitimate thing for me. But how often does that happen? I don't know. Well, I guess my wife is not that thankful. But removing the camera on an iPod, okay, a phone, okay, I can accept the camera is a big deal. On the iPod, I don't.
Well, no, that's the thing. It doesn't have internet connectivity. It doesn't have any of that stuff. So it's one of those. It was one of those features. It's not wrong to remove it. And let them make the device smaller to fit in the form factor they're using and make it all touch based.
It looks cool. I'm not going to buy it because I don't have a use for it, but it looks cool. I like that they took parts of iOS and put it on there. And manually, flipping the screen and stuff. And
you were talking about, adding another iOS device. It almost makes me wonder if that is an emergency plan Z. Turn the Nano into the new iOS device.
I mean, it certainly is running properties of it, and I think it's cool. Hey, it's touch. That's something that Apple has. I think touch can replace those buttons that people are used to. But hell no, on that Shuffle. I mean, I think I was one of the first screaming out of the gate when I saw that event, and I was like, man, I'm sorry, people, that's just total cornball on the cord itself. Let me change my music here.
The only thing that's going to be weird on the Nano is I know it's going to bug some people in the same way the iTouch does. And they're like, they don't like it. This is a real hit or miss, and I think it's less than 10% of the people. But there are some people who just don't like that interface. They don't like that everything's going all touch. I'm sorry, people. That's the way the technology is going. And it's the way it's going to go. What would be nice to see them add to that, honestly, is some type of capacitance screen so that it feels more like buttons, which I know isn't on it at this point, but those are getting cheaper. They might add that in some future version.
Yeah, I like it. I like the demo. I mean, I'm probably going to go to the Apple Store and mess with one. And, just see it.
But you're not going to buy it.
Things like that. They really small parts of their OS. And I was very intrigued when I saw the demo. I was like, this is pretty cool. We've got a lot of the properties that I see in iOS, and just very interesting. I'll probably just go check it out and see how it behaves and things like that, and satisfy my curiosities with it.
Yep. Okay. Well, since you're a Zoom user, this is. What do you think of Ping?
Ping? You're asking the wrong person again. I'm not social. See, that's difficult to say. Obviously, Mr. Bitwin's here is everywhere, but I myself, outside of computer technology education stuff, am not out there, and I don't share a lot. Even on Facebook, I did participate, and then I closed the account, and now I'm kind of on halfway, but not even using my name.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I'm not sure it fills a niche that isn't already being filled. The Zunes do this. I thought they did anyways. Don't they have like some kind of
social network?
Yeah, there's a social network in the Zunes. So So basically, this is the latest in a long list of features that Apple now does it too. And it's for this type of stuff. I mean, basically what it is Twitter for music only, for iTunes only.
It's a social network for iTunes, nothing more. I mean, it's the same thing as a Zoom. Just you hit it.
Yeah, well, no, and that's the thing. Why this thing exists in the Zoom thing? It's like, yeah, it's used, but it isn't really used. If people want to follow these people, they go follow their Twitter page.
I'm sure people are going to use it, dude. I mean, it's kind of like the guy from Coldplay said. The marketing guys can say anything. People will participate on it. I'm sure it'll be a success. I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm usually a very late adopter. It takes a lot to motivate me to share that kind of thing. I'm more of a lurker myself on the internet. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask. I think it's cool. I can totally see a lot of my friends doing it, and they'll probably push me to the edge to try to get on there and do it anyway in the end. So, I think it'll be successful. I mean...
I realized how bad that had gotten when a chick would not go on a date with me unless I added her to my social media stuff.
It's like this... I don't know if, like I said before, I don't know if narcissism is the right word. There are like these big billboard signs now in society. It's like, billboard sign.
While we're on this topic, I should take a moment to address something that I have never addressed, but I should address. And that is, a lot of people send friend requests through YouTube. And I have an old school definition of friend. A friend is somebody who's a friend. I'm interacting with them, I'm so on. And if we're doing that, I don't need to check a little box in a computer somewhere to say we're friends to treat you as a commodity, a sign, and a currency in the whole social media thing. So I've largely, completely, and totally ignored every single friend request.
They can broadcast everything to you. That's all that's about. I figured that out. See, on YouTube, if they friend you, they can broadcast to you. It just shows right up, bam. Get PMs, all kinds of stuff. And I can't stand that. So,
well, see, I have a hard enough time keeping up with the legitimate comments and the legitimate questions and everything else, with YouTube continually changing and everything else. I don't need more spam. If you're a friend and you're a regular person and a regular contributor, those people, I know who they are because I see their name at least once or twice a week, and I'm like, oh, hey, I got another thing from so-and-so. I don't need to check a box and say they're a friend. I know who they are. It's like, I know who those people are. If you want want to interact and get that recognition and all of that stuff, be one of those people. Be contributing content. Be doing other stuff. It's like that's how you get over here on that. It's like,